Hey, Rod B here. On this one I'm going to show you how I made the pick guard for my cedar body guitar, because I wanted a cedar pick guard on it. And what I have is I have a piece of the cedar that was a cut-off piece from the 3 pieces my buddy gave me. And what I'm going to do is pretty much do the same thing as I did making the guitar body blank, because obviously this is not wide enough for the guard. So I'm going to cut this in 2 pieces, and then I'm going to join them together, join the sides and glue them together just like I would a body, and then I will cut this out. Pretty much I'm going to do the same thing as if I was making a guitar body, just in a smaller form. And once I do that, I'm going to plane it down. Now we can glue them together. Alright, I've got them glued together and clamped. We'll let this dry overnight, come back, and then we can cut out the pick guard. Okay, I got my pick guard blank pulled out from the clamps. I'm going to run it through the planer. I'm going to plane this thing down to about 1/8 of an inch thick. Right now it's like at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to run this through the planer, get it down really thin, and then we'll cut out the pick guard. I got my blank for my pick guard planed down, 1/8 of an inch thick. It's still kind of too thick, but I'm going to take care of that in another step. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as the front, because it's got this mark in it, the grain mark, and I think it looks pretty cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take on the back side, and I'm going to cover the entire back side with some shielding tape, because I'm going to shield it anyway, and the shielding tape will help keep it stiff, give it some rigidity as I'm cutting all the holes out. Okay, what I did was I put my template on my blank here, and I traced it so I could see where this mark's going to go, and that's going to look pretty cool. And I also did that because I'm going to run a piece of tape on either side and glue my pattern down to it with tape so I can route it out. Okay, I've got my router hooked up with my pattern bit in it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to route out the outside edge, and I'll probably get the center pocket, and the other 2 pockets I'll route it out with my Dremel tool. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Is I've got the pattern and everything set on a solid piece of wood, and I've got my router set to go just into this piece of wood, and I'm just going to route out the center, and I'm going to route out a portion of these, and then I'll get the rest with the Dremel tool. Alright, and I got that one, and I'm just going to get the back and a little bit of the sides on the humbucker pocket. Alright, now I've got that routed out, and the problem I was having last time was when I would hit this, it would get to the end and it would throw that piece of wood and knock this part out. So I want to take this bit right here on my Dremel, and I want to try to get that out without screwing it up. So I hope this works, because I'm not going to do it a fourth time. That one came out good. All right, it worked that time. I got everything out. So, I know what I got. I've got a 80 grit pad on my mouse sander, and I'm going to sand the top of this and see if I can get it just a little bit thinner. Alright, I got it down as thin as I really wanted. It's a little less than 1/8 of an inch, because I don't want it too thin, because it still has to hold the pickups. So I'm going to go over it now with some 320, then I'll go over it with some 800, and then I'm going to take a round over and round over the edges. Now I'm going to take some 800 and go over it. All right, now that's pretty smooth. That's going to look really good. So let me hook up my round over, my 1/8 inch round over, and my router, and I'm just going to get the edges. And all right, I got my round over in here. Let's see if I can do this without screwing it up, because I got a lot of work into it. Alright, now that looks pretty good. It's not rounded over a lot, but it's just enough. Okay, I'm going to get this off of my pattern, because I have to cut this little piece off right here. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Alright, I got everything cut. I cut this down. I'll show you why in a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wipe this thing down with some cedar oil, just like I did the guitar body, to bring that, to make that red pop. Watch it change colors. All right, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. I'm going to put 2 coats of the oil on it, and once that oil dries, I'm going to shoot some clear polyurethane over the top of it, which is going to make it a little bit more stronger. Now, I'm not going to put the polyurethane on the guitar body, because I want it all natural and everything, so I'm just going to do the pick guard just to make it a little stronger. So let me get all this done, and we'll come back and we'll shoot it with some poly. All right, I'm ready to paint it. What I did was I put a couple coats of Bulldog adhesive promoter on it. I love that stuff. You spray it on anything and just paint it. And what I'm going to use is water-based crystal clear gloss polyurethane, and I'm going to put about 2 or 3 coats on it and then let it dry, and then I will drill the holes in it after I get done. That polyurethane goes down white, and when it dries, it'll be crystal clear. So I'm going to put about 4 coats on it, then I'll wet sand it and get any of the dirt or anything floating in the air out of it, and then fit it on the guitar and finish cutting the holes. Then I can put everything together. Pick guard is done. I've got it clear coated. I like the knot in it, gives it some character. Remember when I cut this out, I cut this portion off right here. I was going to explain to you why. Well, this double cut pattern that I have, this would have stuck up about that far, so I had to cut it to match. What I did to finish it, I sprayed it with about 4 coats of water-based polyurethane. I came back 24 hours later, sanded it. I couldn't get it as shiny as I wanted, so I wound up spraying it with about 4 or 5 coats of clear gloss instrument lacquer. 24 hours later, I came back and I wet sanded it with just 1500 grit paper, polished it, and it turned out a whole lot better. If you're going to try to do this yourself, I'm going to suggest this. If you're going to use a handheld router like I did, just use it on the outside shape. Don't use it to cut the pickup holes, because it will chip it out at the neck or it'll chip it out at the bridge. You'll have to start over. I've made these mistakes for you. Don't do it. Use a Dremel tool with a good wood cutting bit to cut those holes out. You won't be sorry. So I hope you enjoyed that. This was a fun build. I hope you make one, and I hope you're successful. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like, subscribe button. Come back to see what's next, and y'all have a good day.